Australia has had a cost of living squeeze. It's now facing a decade of deficits, $1.2 trillion of debt, but neither side really wants to talk about how to fix that. We've got to get business investment going. You never hear anything out of the government really about getting business investment again, because that's actually how you get growth going. I think the intergenerational question comes down to one of housing now. The inflation problem means that it costs much more to build a house in Australia than it does to buy an existing house. There's a big supply side constraints on just building houses in our big cities. It's hard to retrofit higher density housing into our big cities.
Okay.
Energy transition is happening. Australia's got a lot of opportunities, but it is more costly than we thought. It's a much harder thing to do to decarbonise a fossil fuel economy. We still make most of our exports come from fossil fuel industries, and I think what we really need to do is open up the debate and stop saying that we shouldn't do things, and stop saying that we shouldn't have nuclear. Now, we just need to recognise, I think, it's going to take longer, and you should open up the sort of technologies that are available to help support the renewable transition. And gas, I think gas is a real critical part in enabling more renewables. And we need to be much more competitive. Our cost structure is too high. We need to be competitive on world markets to be able to nimbly move things to new markets where, depending on how trade barriers are put up. Corporate power has got much more powerful, corporates have got much more power in Australia over the last 20 years is nonsense. But overall, the idea that inflation is being driven by the big supermarkets with their very small profit margins, I think it's just not shown by the fact the Reserve Bank, who are supposed to look after inflation, in their big reports, they debunk that. October 7 was a horrific terrorist attack on the State of Israel, and what you see every night happening in Gaza now is a horrific thing too. It's hard for us to all get our heads around it. Yeah. But we also have, of course, seen as part of all this a real sharp rise, a very distressing rise in anti-Semitism in Australia, which has probably been one of the defining things of the Australian side of what's going on in this horrible conflict.